Oh, can Dippy in here? It's cold in here. I'm gonna make it hot in here. How about that?
I'm always cold. We were outside for a minute. It's like so warm. You come in here and it's like
It's probably 3 hours and 10 minutes.
I think we should be ready.
Don't say hey. Just
Maybe I'll close the door so I don't get I think I'll close the door, but if anybody wants to
But don't even, that's not involved. It's just conversation right now, it's just conversation.
I'm cool, I'm waiting, no problem. I don't want to interrupt you.
Yeah, I'll go do that.
All right. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
This means a lot to my soul. I'm following divine guidance doing this, okay? I don't have the backing of anybody really other than the source that created me and us. I really, really, really appreciate you guys being here. I don't really feel like I have much time because it's only an hour and there's so much to learn. But this is about real leadership. This is about spiritual transformation. This is how to lead yourself when leaders fail to lead. My name is Wendel Matthews. I'm an inspirer, inspirational speaker, a spiritual counselor, I'm a real estate consultant. I'm an entrepreneur. I do a lot of different things. But most importantly, I focus on restoring our power, right? Giving it back to us, reconnecting ourselves with our power. So I'm so happy you're here to vibe with me, so we can get comfortable, we can kind of get relaxed, get to know each other a little bit, get to know me a little bit better. I had my daughter when I was 21 years old. Her name is Sydney, and I was scared, really scared. I was scared because, thank you for coming. I was just telling them that I had my daughter when I was 21 years old, and I was very scared. And the reason why I was scared is because, well, I mean, I was in college, I hadn't graduated yet, I didn't have a job, I didn't have any money. I totally didn't feel prepared to be a dad, but that really wasn't what scared me. What actually scared me was bringing a child into this crazy, crazy world. And I told this to her mom. I said, you know, I'll figure it out, but I don't know about bringing Sydney into this world. This world is so crazy. It's so intense, it's so chaotic. See, I went to school in Brooklyn, I went to Poly Prep. And September 11, 2001, the planes hit the towers and it stopped our chapel. Our head football coach came in, said something to the headmaster. Classes stopped. We all went to the classrooms. We were watching TV, watching the buildings burn. For the next couple months, I couldn't look up in the sky, see a plane without feeling worried or scared. It was a crazy world. And then, for me, so spiritually minded, for those actions to be religiously motivated, it made it very difficult because there's so many good-hearted people that then turn their backs on divinity, on spirituality, because they associated it all with religion. And this is really problematic. This was really problematic. I was scared to bring Sydney into the world. It was too chaotic. Here's the thing. It used to be even worse. Some people would argue that before we got so civilized, life was even more chaotic. We used to be born into the wild, right? We used to be born into the wild and something could eat you. You know, you got sick, you know, there was no medicine really to take care of you. Life expectancy was a lot lower. We increased our life expectancy by harmonizing with the environment. Our original challenge was to be born into this wild chaos and harmonize with nature in such a way that we can bring balance to the chaos. Lead ourselves to a higher state of existence. You know what I mean? So we learned that in the wild, but then we became civilized. And then suddenly, the new task became actually achieving this new balance amongst ourselves, right? Coexisting with one another peacefully. And so we see now our task today is to find ways to harmonize within ourselves and with one another in such a way that we bring balance to today's chaos. Right? Here's the problem. Why is it so chaotic today when we're so technologically advanced, so intelligent, living so much longer? Well, what we find is that the egocentric desires of people in leadership tend to prevent us from continuing our evolution. Greed tends to get in the way, right? And now, I'm not just speaking purely off conjecture. I'm only going to cite real, practical, current events that will drive all this home. But here's the thing. This makes people say, oh, money's the root of all evil. This all the chaotic stuff is coming from the money. But it's really not money that's the root of all evil, but what we will do, what our egos will do for the money. And why we want the money, what we want the money for, what we're going to do with the money. All of that is what the so-called evil. That's where the negative energy goes. It's not in the money itself, but really what we infuse into the money. The money is just a medium of exchange. So it's this dynamic of money that drives the egos of the people in leadership positions that make us experience certain things that are products of poor leadership. Now, what's products of poor leadership? We look up to our leaders. We aspire to be them. When we ask our children what they want to be when they grow up, and they say some cool leader that we look up to, we feel good, like, oh, your head is on straight. We're doing something right. So, leaders influence directly our mental and emotional environments. When poor leadership is what influences our mental and emotional environments, we take home. When poor leadership influences our mental and emotional environments, we take home false truths. Like, we think that money makes the world go round, when it doesn't. Money didn't make Earth. Money didn't make you. Money doesn't make the clouds. Money didn't make the sun. Money does not make the world go round. Energy surely does, right? We get desensitized to acts of greed. We see acts of greed. We even commit acts of greed. It becomes normal. Capitalism promotes, go to any business school, go to any corporation, go to any boardroom. If you really want to talk about money, you better be talking about greed, or else you're not really profitable. Because capitalism is all about making the most money that you can make. So we get desensitized to acts of greed because it's the underlying value that drives and stimulates our economy, our purchases, our exchanges, our day-to-day lives. It also encourages us to capitalize on the ignorance of others instead of sharing knowledge. Now, what are we doing right here? We're sharing knowledge. We're uplifting one another, right? This is what we're supposed to be doing. This is why you're here, right? This is the evolution. We're doing it. We're participating in the growth right now. Succeeding at the expense of one another and our plan. Is that succeeding? Right. It's not. It's not succeeding. So, where is the real success? Well, before we look at the real success, let's look at some real examples of poor leadership, because it's very important that we hold on to this. Because before we can go up, we got to go down, okay? VA just admitted to 23 people dying from delayed care, right? And the leader of the agencies, they resigned, right? The government, they researched it, they found evidence that they're concealing wait times, and that's boosting pay. So they're actually getting paid for negligence. The leaders are actually getting paid more for negligence. Now, Atlanta, WSB-TV, they did more research on the issue, found since 2001 over 100 claims filed. Over 100 claims per year filed for people in the VA who died due to mishaps. So this is a much, much, much bigger issue. But it stems from just wanting to make more money, wanting to have the books look a certain way, wanting to have your patient processing time look a certain way so that you get paid for performance. Okay, money. Where else did this affect us? You guys were here, Georgia, right? 2013 last year, education scandal. 35 educators and administrators got indicted. The leader of the group was Beverly Hall, superintendent. Right? They were changing the children's test scores to make more money and then moving the kids ahead to the next grade without them knowing the stuff they needed to know to perform. Well, terrible. Absolutely terrible. This is a manifestation of greed. This is real poor leadership. This is real relevant. This is really now. Right? Fracking. Gasland 1, Gasland 2, natural gas fracturing, right? Hydraulic fracturing. Contaminated groundwater. So increased seismic activity. More and more places. Just recently in Dayton, Ohio, just recently, they tried to dig another hole and then increased seismic activity. They said, whoa, 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 this is crazy. We don't really know what's going on here. You know? Going in for the money without the foresight, it's irresponsible. You're succeeding at the expense of your planet. You're not really succeeding. This is poor leadership. This is what we are seeing as the right things to do. This is what leaders of tomorrow will aspire to. Well, I'm going to go work for a natural gas company. They're paying money. We have to be the change. And we're going to talk about how cool the things that the young people are doing nowadays are. China and Vietnam. China and Vietnam right now. They're having a water fight. They're bumping their boats against one another, and they're shooting hoses of water at the other. It's 2014. They're shooting water at each other. Oh, it's our island. No, it's our island. It's uninhabited piece of land. No, it's our island. What? This is what is current events. Russia. Don't we teach our children not to bully? Well, Putin. He's bullying the heck out of Ukraine. More oil there. Economic recession 2008. Economy collapsed, a lot of people lost jobs, all that stuff. All that was greed. You do any research, you'll see that there were all these financial instruments created out of greed, and it promoted the collapse of the entire economy. Meanwhile, the people who created the instruments, they make the money. Greed, succeeding at the expense of your people. We don't win that way. The economic recovery. The economic recovery, since 2008, features 95% of the gains went to the top 1%. The 5% of the gains got spread out to the rest of the 99%. I'm with you guys. I'm with you guys. We shared the 5%. Not to step on anybody's toes. If you are in that top 1%, it's cool, but you know what I'm saying. Monsanto, just May 24th. May 24th, you see, it's more and more. But don't worry, this is going to get inspirational. Monsanto, they just did. 50 countries did a march about that. Okay? Monsanto is created based on the premise that he who controls the food controls the world. That's the bottom line. This is before money. You guys are the commodities. We are the commodities. We have the value. Cyber spying, NSA, Eric Snowden. Now the 5 Chinese military officials. Everybody spying on one another. No trust. That's over money. Declining value in the dollar since 1985. Since 1985, the dollar's lost almost half its value relative to other major currencies. Since it's lost over 33% of its value in the past 12 years. We have a shrinking middle class. Median incomes have been steadily declining since 2007. Government shutdown in 2013. Government shutdown in 2013, and the economy lost $24 billion. Okay, I think we get the point, because I've only been talking about this year and last year. And we're still feeling all the effects of the things that are currently happening, all these things that I mentioned. But if for some reason none of those things resonate with you, you probably experienced poor leadership in your personal life, at work, poor management. Everybody, raise your hand if you had a bad manager ever. All right. You know what I'm saying? They do things wrong, somehow you feel wrong, but you the one that was right, but they're the leader. You're in a tough spot. You're conflicted. Which way am I supposed to act? How am I supposed to act? What is right to do when my leader is doing wrong? This is our environment. This is our environment. this is where we live, and if all we do is focus on the poor leadership and where that's taking us, then the future will look grim. Unless we recognize the miraculous potential for great change that each of us possesses within us, that as a collective, we possess together. You see, in each of these items of poor leadership, you actually have the source for great change. Because every time you see something go wrong, your intuition speaks loud and clear. That's not right. Listen a little closer and you may have a solution. Maybe do it this way. Or maybe you don't have a solution, but enough to say it's not right and get a lot of people on your team to at least stop the madness and make a shift, promote a paradigm shift. This is my mom used to say to me, Wendell, surround yourself with people that are going to bring you up, not people that are going to bring you down. Right? When I focus on the leadership of today, it brings me down. Well, I can't do that. I'm not going down like that. Look at somebody and say, I ain't going down like that. I'm not going down like that. That's not me. You understand? I'm not going down with you, leader. You're not my leader anymore. I am my leader now. You have awakened my intuition with your poor leadership, and now I trust in my own cognition. I trust in the truth of my own connection, my own guidance. It's real, just as real as your mistakes. It's real. I can hear it. I know it. This is where we turn it all around. You become the solution. Look, my father wasn't there. Even when he was in the household until I was 7, he was sparse, his presence was sparse, and then after 7, he was gone. I told you guys, I had my daughter when I was 21 years old. I didn't know what it meant to be a father. All I knew intuitively, since I had such poor leadership, all I knew intuitively was what not to do. And I said, okay, I can start there. Next thing, my intuition said, just be present. Be present. Well, when I'm present, magic happens. When I'm present, I share consciousness. When I'm present, we share consciousness. We all think about, we're all here. We all think and feel. This is presence. Once we share our thoughts and feelings, we have energetic exchanges. When we have energetic exchanges, we establish meaningful relationships. When we establish meaningful relationships, we see purpose. When we see purpose, we become inspired. When we become inspired, we are limitless, because that's inspiration. See, the science of inspiration comes from the word inspirare. Inspirare means spirit. In, it's just in, right? Spirit came from the word breath. So all you have to do is inhale. Just inhale. Think about the air that you breathe a little bit differently, and every breath you take will be inspirational. You can say thank you after every single one, because that's the energy that's flowing through you. So this voice is loud and clear, this voice of your intuition. And once you connect with that, then you connect with your true power. Then thoughts and feelings, intents and actions, all those things become completely different. Here's the thing. How to prove that you're limitless when you're stuck in your physical bodies, or when it feels like you're stuck in your physical body? Well, think about choice. How many choices do you make a day? How many choices do you make a year? Ooh. You could make an infinite amount of choices in a moment. Now, how do you measure the impact of one choice that you make on the rest of the universe? You can't. So, between being able to make a limitless number of choices in a given lifetime and the choices that you make having an immeasurable impact on the rest of the ocean that is existence, on the rest of life itself, this makes you truly limitless already here. Now, remind yourself that if you weren't inside your body, your feet would decompose right now. And remind yourself that you are the light presence that's inside your body, and that makes you even more limitless. These are the gifts of your soul. Your intuition awakes you to your multidimensional nature. It links you to your ability to transcend these physical limitations of race and judgment and money and all these different belief systems and values and all that kind of stuff, It helps you transcend that. It helps you to transmute negative, turn it into positive, and inspire someone. Because you have the same inspiration in you. You just bring the unconditional love out of somebody else to find the beauty in anybody around you, as long as your perspective is in the right place. So when somebody, look, one of my friends just came to my house this morning. She said, Wendel, I said, when you look down, what's going on? I just got diagnosed with pre-Parkinson's. Pre-Parkinson's? Oh my God. I hugged her, we talked about it, she was very sad. I said, how's your husband taking it? He said, well, she said, oh, actually, it was kind of a good thing for him. Well, it made him want to do more. It made him want to take up more. It made him want to help more. It made him take initiative. It made him begin to lead himself and think more of himself. It made him want to be there, be more supportive. It inspired him. It gave him additional purpose. He is love. You're love. When negative comes to you, you have this moment where you can turn it all the way around. All the way. You can go all the way in the other direction. So, that's your power. Simply magic. Here's the question. Who have you given your power to? Who have you given your power to? When you talk about power, you think about you? You take power positions in your house? I do. There you go. Listen, you might want to try doing this naked too. It's really good. I'm so serious. I'm talking about restoring your power from the physical to the spiritual and back through. Accepting yourself unconditionally through and through. Who have you given your power to? Did you give it to Obama? Did you give it to Putin? Did you give it to Bush? Kim Jong-un? Dennis Rodman gave it to Kim Jong-un, right? And then when he gave it to Kim Jong-un, he ended up on TV speaking non-truth and then apologizing for the stupid things he was saying. He wasn't using his intuition. You guys are. You're here. So, what are you giving your power to? Money? Overindulgence? Trophies? You know? Take it back. It's time to take your power back. That's why you're here. It's time to take your power back. It's time to go through the process of self-understanding that connects you with your infinite nature. It improves your connection to all life. It restores your sense of love and balance within. It enables you to bring balance to the chaos. This is spiritual transformation. How do you harness the power of spiritual transformation? How do you harness the power of spiritual transformation? You take your intuitive guidance and you go and you have a new experience. Who's seen Pit Bulls and Parolees? Pit Bulls and Parolees? Okay. Pit Bulls and Parolees, for those of you who haven't seen it, it's a rehabilitative program for ex-convicts. When the people come out of prison, they get an opportunity to go in the kennels and help the lady who rescues pit bulls all over New Orleans, right? Now, society has been struggling to rehabilitate its criminals, okay? Pit Bulls and Parolees has effectively rehabilitated men. Why? Why? That's it. That's it. It's spiritual transformation. It's unconditional love. You see, sure, idle time, that makes mischief. And a lot of times we're plagued with boredom, and we need something to do. So maybe we bite our nails, we scratch our feet, whatever we got to do, we want a task. But that's not really fulfilling, that kills the time. What fulfills the soul? Real energetic exchange. Not pushing paper, not scooping doo-doo, but this, okay? So these guys, they go to the Pit Bulls and Parolees, they choose to go there, right? They go, they do the stuff, but it's really the relationship they have with the animals, the care they share with the animals, and the unconditional love they receive in return that restores their sense of purpose, that restores their sense of personal value, such that they get out of their own way. They stop with the fear, they stop with the anxiety, they stop with the cynicism, they stop with the self-doubt, they stop thinking that they can't be any more than they already are. Unconditional love will restore you. Bottom line, unquestionably. Call your mom. Call your mom. If you're call your grandma, call your dad, call your brother. Who loves you unconditionally? That restores you when you contact them. I call Sashi Poo sometimes, that's my dog. If I'm down, Sashi Poo, come over here. She comes and she's so rough and all over the place, it's perfect. Totally throws my energy off, I can't stay in the same position. Spiritual transformation. That was just an example. But here's the thing. Healthy spiritual transformation results in post-traumatic growth. Now, what? Did you say post-traumatic growth? Because I heard, all I hear is post-traumatic stress. That's everything I hear is post-traumatic stress. Post-traumatic stress. Post-traumatic stress disorder, post-traumatic stress syndrome, post-traumatic stress. But life is intense. Life is intense. Life is intense, and so there will be traumas. If in your psyche, every time you hear trauma, you think stress, good luck. I don't use luck anymore. I use the truth of my connection. I use limitlessness. I use energy. So I think post-traumatic growth. Scientifically proven to be true, just not spoken about. Because there's no, you don't medicate anybody that experiences post-traumatic growth. There ain't no money in that. What are you going to give somebody who grew from a trauma? Water. You can't give them anything. Post-traumatic growth is something real. It's something that you can connect with. It's something that in PMH Atwater's book on spiritually transformative experiences, called Near-Death Experiences, she did an interview of over 3,200 people who had spiritually transformative experiences. 80 to 99% of them became more helpful, became less competitive, were able to deal with stress better, lost anxiety and fear of death. These things really get in the way of our growth. Didn't we just talk about how competing with ourselves really doesn't lead to our victory? Right? We just talk about how stress kills. If you're able to deal with stress better without taking medication, well, guess what? If that really is true, that really is real. I know it happened to me. I had an out-of-body experience of water squirted out of my ears, and now I'm doing this. I did transform, and it is good. Yeah. This is real. This is real. This is post-traumatic growth. This is it right here. You guys have all been through traumas, and you're here growing right now. This is all post-traumatic growth. This is the best medication. The energy that made the body heals the body. Chiropractors, they'll tell you that. See? This is the best medicine. Self-understanding, self-acceptance, self-discovery, harnessing transformation, learning and growing from your experiences in deep and profound ways that address you and the collective together. If I look out just for me and nobody else, it ain't worth anything. If I look out for everybody else and not me, I won't be looking out for anybody too long. I gotta look out for both. I gotta be holistic. Right? Here's the thing in that book. One thing that they pointed out, this Atwater, right? She pointed out that intensity is a crucial component to spiritual transformation. And the more intense your experience, the more you transform. Right? Think about intensity. Peace even can be intense. Imagine if you walk into a neighborhood. I grew up in the hood. Gunshots, loud music, boom, 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 you know, that kind of stuff. When I go into a super peaceful neighborhood, it's intense. See? Right? It's intense. Peace is intense. Love is intense. Some people love really hard. The entire process of unconditional love, in its realest and most essential form, it's really intense. Bliss is intense, and so is war. All of it is spiritually transformative. Racism was intense. It spiritually transformed Martin Luther King. One of the first books I ever read. He tried to play with his white friend outside. Parents shut that down. Poor leadership on both sides. Martin Luther King spiritually transformed.